The cavalry may be on the way for the Cubs. Jameson Taillon set to start his rehab in Double-A Tennessee today. We're going to cover that for you, and we'll talk about what Taillon needs to do to get back to the major leagues. Jose Cuas, another really tough outing for him. Is it time for the Cubs to start to look for other options? I think it is. We're going to get into that as well. This is the Cubs Baseball Channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as we talk Cubs every day, and let's get this party started. Go Cubs, everybody, and make sure you hit the thumbs up. That's a great way of saying go Cubs. Here's your invitation to the channel. Peace, everybody. It's Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick on the socials, and it is great to talk to you today about the Cubs. All right, yesterday, tough loss to the LA Dodgers, and a game that we're going to get into a little bit more later on. But the 5-game winning streak is over, and it was one of those games where it was kind of it felt like an arm wrestling match. But when the Cubs went to the bullpen, you know what happened then. But let's start with this. Jameson Taillon. Taillon is making his season debut. He's set to pitch for the Tennessee Smokies, the Cubs Double-A affiliate. We're going to cover that for you. We're going to watch that. We'll have some, obviously some video and some other stuff on Taillon and see how that goes. So that'll probably be actually sometime today. So keep an eye out for that. But the Cubs right now are down 2 starters. You got Taillon, who had his back tightened up on him during spring training, and he has been out of action, as you know. And then Justin Steele made the start on opening day, was rolling along, and then, fielded that bunt, and then, something in his hamstring, and he's been out. So the Cubs are down 2 starters right now, which means that Javier Assad slid in there, and I'm guessing that the next move is going to be Ben Brown. Or maybe Taillon is ready before the Cubs, would swing back to Brown in the rotation. We'll find out, but today's going to tell us where Taillon is. How healthy is he? What does he look like? And Craig Counsell said that Taillon's got to get up to about 100 pitches to be ready for the Cubs. To start, you got to be able to throw about 100 pitches. So he's got to get stretched out as well. He's been throwing, but he'll face live batters in a real game, even though it's a minor league game. And then, see how that goes, see how the back reacts, and give the Cubs an idea of a timeline of when they can expect him to be ready to join the major league team. So it is good news. Obviously, just because you get an idea of, what it's going to look like and how long it's going to take to get there. Cubs lost to the Dodgers yesterday. We talked about it. I thought Jordan Wicks pitched really good. And I honestly, looking back on it, maybe they should have just left him in the game to figure out his own plight. But Jose Cuas came in. He's bouncing pitches. Wild pitches a run in, and then he gives up a bunch of hits. And before you could blink your eyes, it's a 3-0 game. And at that point, the way Yamamoto was going after getting out of all of those jams at the beginning of the game, it was pretty much over, right? And I've said this before. I'm just not sold on Jose Cuas. I get it. You traded Nelson Velasquez, and some of you guys love to get in the comment section and say, look, Velasquez is hitting 280 with 2 home runs. I mean, how many Cubs have 2 home runs right now? And I think that he's has the potential to hit 40. I'm serious. But that doesn't matter. I mean, that it's a deadline deal. You needed pitching. It was a seller's market, right? And that's what happens in a seller's market. You give up a lot to get a little back. And that's how it was last year at the trade deadline. Had the Cubs said, hey, we're going to trade players, they would have been the recipients of a lot of good players. But at the end of the day, Cuas just continues to struggle, and he's not a good option coming out of the bullpen. And when I look at the organization, I feel like there are other pitchers who are a better option than him. Now, I get it. It's not just as easy as saying, hey, I want to take that guy and I'm going to put this guy down, because you have 40 guys and you got to pick off of the 40. So with that said, I just want to put up some options that I feel like the Cubs could look at and say, hey, maybe this would be a better option. I think Daniel Palencia has the potential to be a really good reliever. Still figuring it out. It's not like he's gone to Iowa and dominated, but I like his velocity, and I think that he's eventually going to turn the corner and be a pretty good reliever. Hayden Wesneski, he was maybe the last guy out at spring training, one of those guys. We thought maybe he'd be in the starting rotation. I didn't, but some of you guys did. He's obviously an option. C.J. Edwards or Carl Edwards Jr., this is who I would put in there. Yeah, I would. I mean, right now, I'd figure out a way to get him in there. You saw him in spring training. He was great. Last year, he had like a 3 ERA for the Nationals. Is it the same stuff that we saw in 2016? No, it's different, but it's also like a guy who's been around the league and understands how to get outs. It's a mix of off speed and deception and all that, but I love him and I want to see him back in there. A couple guys who you look at and you go, good stuff. Cam Sanders came up through your organization. You drafted him out of LSU, and he throws in the upper 90s. He's figuring it out. He's a starter. Now he's a reliever. You saw him in spring training. He was really good in spring training, and he's been excellent so far this year in Iowa. Dad was a big leaguer. You remember him, former Cub. Cam Sanders deserves a look. And I think that he's got everything that you want for a reliever. And honestly, I don't think that he'd be any worse than Jose Cuas. And then Thomas Pannone, you signed him for this job. And he's been great so far in Iowa this year. So Pannone's out there. He's another guy that you could put in. And I'm sure there's others. You guys get in the comment section. Tell me who else I'm missing. But I'm just saying, like, right off the top, you scoop the top and you're going, I feel like if it's me, I'm more comfortable with any of these guys over Jose Cuas. I'm just not seeing it. I'm watching and I'm going, what am I missing here? I'm not seeing Jose Cuas as a solution to any situation. He's just inconsistent and he gets hit hard. And I feel like this is a spot in the bullpen that could be occupied by somebody better. So we'll find out what they do. And I'm sure they feel the same exact way. And I'm sure Cuas, would like to be more effective, but it just doesn't work. They just hit him. It's like he leaves too many pitches up and over the plate. It's not like when you got him from Kansas City, he was dominant there. But I felt like yesterday's game was a great example of why it's time to move on and find somebody else. Or put him back in Iowa and find somebody else to come in and be the option for, hey, you know what, we're pulling our starter out in the 5th inning and we need somebody to get the last out. Because if you can't do that, then it's like, well, what are you going to do? Like what's the other job that you're going to have? So today's game at Wrigley Field, it is 120 against the Dodgers. Winner wins the series. And for the Cubs, they'll face Gavin Stone. No wins or losses and a 5.40 ERA. And then Shota Imanaga will be matched up against the Dodgers. Brilliant last time, but this is the matchup we want to see. We want to see him against Freddie Freeman, who hits left-handers. We want to see him against Shohei Ohtani, right? We want to see him face off against this Dodger lineup, which is stacked. But what we learned Friday is that the Cubs can compete with these guys. So really interesting matchup today, winner take all, and I feel like it's a really important game for the Cubs because swept the Rockies, won the homestand with the game Friday, but how about really winning it? 5 out of 6 would be great. Get in the comments section. Tell me what you guys think. Obviously, a really fun, huge early season game for the Cubs against the Dodgers. It's a tone-setting game. And right now, Imanaga is the best bet in the rotation for the Cubs. But this is going to be a really, really tough lineup to go through. Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Again, I'm telling you right now, we're going to try to jump on later on today after we see Taillon and give you an update on what that looks like. So make sure that you stick around for that. Keep an eye out for it. Hit the bell so you know when we drop that video what it looks like. But thanks, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick. Go Cubs.